I'm Sara Mlakar. I work in Media Interaction Lab. I originally come from Slovenia, but I'm based here now in Hagenberg. And I'm an interaction designer. So as an interaction designer of smart textiles, I'm trying to figure out how do we communicate that something we have known basically our whole lives to be not interactive now is. So we're in contact with textiles a lot in our everyday lives, but we don't really know that they are interactive. And as we're making them interactive, how do we communicate? This is where you have to, let's say, press, and this is how you do it. Something in the lines of bringing to the surface things that are hidden. I like that it's very, in a way, creative, because we are coming up with concepts that don't yet exist, so you can really think about very broad ideas, and there's really no right or wrong answers. You're just trying things out, and we are in a way shaping this future that we want to live in. Because, so by education I'm a graphic designer, so I do visual communications, and I was always very interested in electronics as well, and how interactions work, and how people, as everyday people, are in contact with electronics, because you don't actually see the circuit most of the time, you see the surface, and how does that somehow correlate to your interaction. And then I started combining both, first as a hobby, and then at some point I started thinking, why not do this as a job? At the moment, I am trying to figure out how we can design textiles. So one thing, by what does texture or the textile itself communicate to the user, and then how can we manipulate it in a way that a gesture that is required is somehow obvious to you. So, and in this case, we're thinking a little bit about metaphors. So, for example, this is something that we know from the tissues, and then you would pull this, for example. Or even if you would do surface gestures, how would you communicate, for example, that this is something that you need to slide, or is this something where I need to press? How can I use visual cues as well as tactile cues to communicate to the user which gesture they need to make, which surface gesture? So the biggest, let's say, scientific part for me are the user studies. So this is evaluating how our concepts with how people interact with this actually work in practice. And this is from like studies randomly done on the street by asking 30 people to interact and then getting like statistical data, to maybe interviewing them more, observing the process, talking with them about what do they think, how would they improve it. So it could be like more qualitative or more quantitative, but everything for me is basically user studies in this way or that way.